Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I am doing a beginner's tutorial for sculpting in Blender. Now I have taught sculpting for many years on my channel. There's several videos that I've made and some of them have done really well. But this one is going to be more for people who really have never sculpted. This is somebody you've done some basic things in Blender, but you just don't know what all of this sculpting stuff is. And what I'm going to do in this video as a beginner video is I'm going to show you some of the main things you need to know. So number one, we're going to be looking at dynamic topology. So this is essentially how Blender dynamically remeshes as you're sculpting. Then we're going to look at symmetry. So how do you make it, sculpt on one side and then work on the other side? And if you were to accidentally make one change here and it didn't symmetrize, how can you automatically symmetrize it so it fixes that, right? We're going to be looking at these main things that beginners should know. Then we're just going to go in and we're going to look at just the basic brushes that are going to do 98% of what you want to do as a beginner. We won't be touching some of the more complicated ones, right? Just the absolute bare basics. And then we'll just look a little bit at how to add a mask. So if you don't want to affect certain areas. But this is, like I said, this will get you started as a beginner. And for the first week or two while you're learning, this is all you're going to need to know. The rest of this other stuff, like I said, some of these other tools and some of these other sort of simulation brushes, we're not going to look at them because you're really not going to need them when you're just getting started. So this is a beginner's guide for sculpting in Blender. If you've never sculpted, this is going to help you a lot. It's going to make things make sense and it's not going to be overly complicated. So let's jump in, and I hope you guys enjoy learning the sculpting basics in Blender. So if a new scene opened up in Blender, we're just going to pretend here that you have no prior knowledge of sculpting in Blender, okay? So let's just start with something we all have in the scene. That's going to be the default cube. So you can go ahead and select it. It'll work fine for our demonstration here. And what we're going to do, okay, you could technically come over here. I'm just going to explain this. You could technically come over here and change into the sculpt mode. However, if you have an object selected, you can actually come up here to your dedicated sculpting workspace, where it automatically takes you into sculpt mode here, and it has your active work tools panels here set up and things for you. It's just sort of made for sculpting. And if you wanted to, you could just go back to your layout again to do sort of general modeling or scene layout or whatever you're doing. So make sure you're in the sculpting workspace here. And what we're gonna do, okay, the most important thing to look at is actually, I think, the actual dynamic topology. Because, and you don't have to do this bit here, but I'm just going to show you. If I come here to the overlay, okay, I should be able to enable the outline, which I don't think I can see in sculpting mode. I wonder why. Okay, I'm just going to turn on the wireframe there. Okay, so with the wireframe here enabled, you can see this is what I have. I have a cube made out of a whole bunch of verts. So if I were to come here with just sort of like the default sculpting brush here, and I were to sculpt, all it'll do is just move geometry around. As you can see here, it just moves it around if I'm clicking on it, right? So what we need to do, and this is the most important thing to understand, is under your active tools here, you want to come down and just scroll down and enable Dyne Topo, which stands for dynamic topology. So you're going to enable that. It's going to say, give you this warning here, because what this will do is automatically sort of triangulate your mesh. So it's like remeshing it essentially. So you want to go ahead and enable that. And now if you come down to the drop down, there are going to be these settings. For now, we'll just leave them as they are. But what this is now going to do is if you click somewhere in your sculpting, it's going to dynamically retopologize the mesh. This way you actually can decrease and increase in volume, because if we were to just move things around without it continually dynamically adding more topology, how would you be able to add details as you're sculpting, right? So if I now go here and I click, you can see it's dynamically adding in these triangles. So I'm gonna go back to the solid view here, and you can see, so I'm just going around the corners here, and you can try this out just with your default brush. Don't worry about the strength or the size. Just go ahead, use the default settings here, and just try this out. Just go around the cube here and just maybe like work lightly on the corners. Just get a feel for what it feels like to sculpt with the default brush. You can see we are dynamically changing the mesh. Now, just a quick note with the detail size here, right? Currently it's set to 12. If I were to take this down to 4, now you can see those triangles become even finer, right? And if I go in closer, you can see they become even finer despite the fact that I haven't brought it down anymore. And that is because currently the subdivide collapse is set to relative detail. And what that means even if I have it now set to 4 pixels, if I zoom way out and then I sculpt here, you can see these triangles are actually bigger again. Yet if I come in closer, and I haven't changed it yet, and I sculpt here, you can see they're super fine because it's relative to the distance that I am from the actual object, right? So if you wanted to not work with that and you wanted a constant detail, you could come here and change it to constant detail. That means it doesn't matter if you're far away or if you're close in. It'll be whatever the resolution is here, right? So if I make it 12 and it's set to constant detail, you can see this is what we have, okay? Very simple to understand. Doesn't matter if I'm far away or I'm close in. Now, both of these have their advantages. I feel sometimes it's nice in certain situations just to have a constant detail. We're just working locally. But if you're working all over the place and you're zooming in and out and you're starting to get into the detailing stage, I sometimes think that personally, relative detail is the way to go. And honestly, what you're setting this pixel size to, the detail size here, is really going to come down to sort of your computer, what it can handle, and your sculpting knowledge. If you're making a lot of mistakes and you want to kind of go back and forth a lot, it's better to have it a bit higher. But if you're really kind of a bit more confident, you can start getting that number down and really getting in there with the details. But once again, this is going to be relative anyway, depending on how close you are. So it's really going to, you can develop this as you're learning to sculpt. You'll figure this stuff out, okay? You'll kind of find what works for you. But anyway, that's the most important thing you need to learn about straight away. Now, one thing as well, before we go any further, because I don't want anybody getting caught out in this. If you were to, for example, tab into edit mode and tab back out, right? Or you go into another mode or another window and come back, right? Dynamic topology automatically ticks off, okay? So you need to be aware of that. You can see everything here is grayed out. So you're gonna start sculpting thinking you're adding detail, but it's not doing anything. So you always have to check every time you go in and out that you enable dynamic topology. Again, it should be something that you check up on. Okay, now the second most important thing before you even get to the brushes, okay, is the symmetry. If you go down here to symmetry, right, at the moment you can see this is not even all around because you can sculpt here and it doesn't update on the other axis. But there is under the remesh here is something called symmetry. So if I enabled the X, for example, just like we work with a mirror, if I go to my front view here, right, we have the X axis running along here in the front view. If I were to come and sculpt on this side, you should see it does something on this side, right? Or over here, I can come over here, it doesn't matter, you can see it's updating here. However, at the moment, you can see we already started with something that wasn't symmetrical, so this isn't working 100% properly. So the best way to deal with that is you can actually symmetrize. So going down to symmetry, if you are starting with something that isn't symmetrical, like this is, you can see it's not symmetrical on both sides. You can come here and you can set what you want to do. So I want to take, for example, the negative X over to the positive X, or you can even symmetrize it on any of the other axes. But because we usually work from the front view like this, it's almost always going to be negative X to positive X or positive X to negative X. In this case, I'm going to go from negative to positive over here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on symmetrize, and now you can see it's taken the negative X and symmetrized it perfectly here. So now with the X mirror enabled, if I were to come on either side here and sculpt, you can see that it's now perfectly and dynamically mirroring over on the other side. This is going to be fantastic if you're doing characters or faces. The nice thing is you can always switch this off later if you want to start making one side more random. And if you don't like what you did, you could always flip it back with the symmetrize. So that is kind of like the basics here. So what I'm going to do now, I want to show you a few of the brushes, okay? So what I might actually do is just go back to the layout. I might just delete all of this. Shift A, I might just add in a UV sphere, go back into the sculpting mode. And just like we always do, we enable dynamic topology and we go enable, okay? And what we're going to do, I'm going to show you something. So we're going to make sure also under the symmetry, enable the X mirror. This is a new object. So what you want to do is you want to come into the front view. I'm going to hit 1 on the number pad. And let's look at some of our brushes here, okay? So we have our standard brush here. We'll just look at that, right? And this brush here, okay, you can change how it functions. So for example, at the moment, it's just our, what we call our draw brush, which is this one over here. Right, so if you go over and I draw over on this side lightly, you can see it just makes sort of like this bead of clay. However, one that is very commonly used, and one of my favorites, is the clay strips brush over here. And this is very similar to traditional sculpting where you lay down strips of clay. And I really love this one. So this is sort of where you can start laying a structure. So for example, if I were to kind of come here, I can sculpt around, come up here. I'm just gonna make sort of like a random looking organic object, maybe sculpt over here, making sort of like this shape, right? And then maybe I want something to run across here. I want to bulk it up here. So I'm going to add a few strips of clay along here, kind of going over each other like that. You can very quickly build up volume and do an abstract shape, kind of get the rough idea of what you're going for, right? And then when you kind of like how you've added volume, you can hold in Shift, and then any brush will become the smooth brush. So you can lightly click and go over and smooth out where you have some of these sharper edges here. So you can see I can make this look a little bit more smoothed out now. So I'm just gonna come over here, smooth that out. And now you can see I've added bulk here, right? So that is a pretty cool brush. A clay strips brush is gonna be what you use a lot. Then there is one of my personal favorites as well, is the crease. And you get two now. There's the crease polish, but I like the crease sharp. This is fantastic if you want to come in here and sort of add in little sort of creases and details. Now with this brush, what works really well is if you actually come here to the stroke up here and you enable stabilize stroke. And this will enable you to do a nice smooth stroke. And you see we have this little line. So this one is fantastic for adding in detail. So if you were like sculpting a couch, you wanted to add in folds in the couch, or you wanted to make sort of sci-fi paneling, right? This one is going to be really good for that. You can kind of just change angle. That allows you to be very precise, right? Now, what we have over here, now another one that's really good for sort of organic sculpting is the blob brush. This one I really like. So it sort of does what it says. It makes blobs, right? So if I just hold in and I make a round like this, I can come over here, make a blob here, make a blob here. You know, almost looks like we're making some sort of Pokemon, but you get the idea here, right? You can make these little blobs. Now, those are sort of like the main brushes that are gonna almost enable you to do anything. In fact, you could technically sculpt almost exclusively with just a clay strips brush, and I oftentimes do, and then I'll just do a little bit of refinement with the crease. But one other thing that I really also like, and this is great for adding volume, is what we call over here, I think there's a few now, but it's just the grab brush, first of all. So the grab brush allows you to, and by the way, you can press F to grow the brush, or you can come up here and grow the size here. But this allows you to kind of stretch like so. But the thing is with the grab brush, it doesn't dynamically add more mesh. So if you wanted to up the volume without going too crazy with the sort of jaggedy triangular stretches, you can actually use the, I think it's the elastic snake hook here. It used to just be called a snake hook, but this one allows you to be able to grab mesh and it'll dynamically keep adding more material as it's dragging out. So the elastic snake hook here can really help you make some cool extra little details here. So like I've made what look like little ears. I can maybe come over here, make something like this. Just a little attachment here on the side. It's great for sort of like shaping without, you know, losing your mesh quality. So yeah, that's kind of some of the most common ones that you use. These other ones here, for example, there is the flatten, which is great if you're doing like sort of like I said, sci-fi panels. You got to kind of flatten things. You know, you can come here. I can come over here, grow the brush a little bit. I can flatten this area over here, make it flat. Yeah, you kind of get the idea. There's so much you can do with that. It's kind of self-explanatory. You can always come here, hover over things. So for example, the inflate, if you have something really thin and you want to give it a bit of volume, you can come and inflate it with the inflate brush, make it a little bit more chunky. This is great if you want to add a little bit more volume to like the nose or some of the features on a face, which I often use it for. But you can get the idea there. And then there is the scrape multiplane. So that's if it's kind of like the opposite of this thing over here, the groove. This is if you want to take sort of like a corner and you want to sharpen it up like that. Okay, so I kind of want to make it a bit more pronounced. This can be great for sort of automotive sculpting. So if you want to do like car designs, like people traditionally do with clay, you can kind of do some body work where you sort of sharpen up the corners where panels come together. It's not one I use very often, but it is something that, you know, you can try out if you want. So yeah, and then besides that, we have all of these different things. So some of these are like masks. So sometimes I don't often work with masks, but you can kind of paint an area where you don't want it to be affected with the mask. So if you do go over to your brush and then you sculpt, so if I just grab my clay strips brush, you can see here, it's going to avoid that area. So this is going to be fantastic if you want to do like eye sockets, which often require you not to disturb a certain area. And then what you can do is you can come back with the mask, you can hold in Control and you can paint that black area away. You can come back to your brush and I'll hold in Shift here, for example, and then just smooth that out. So maybe that can be like the start of some eyes that I'm going to sculpt there and like an eye socket. But that's pretty simple to use. I mean, like try to mask out if you want. And there are all these other things, like for example, you can cut, remove, you can create mesh groups. I'm not going to touch all of those in this tutorial because like I said, the goal here is just to get you the bare basics introduction so you kind of understand how this works, how to get started. And really, and let me be honest with you, for the first few days or the first week or two when you're learning sculpting, you are not going to need to touch any of this other stuff here. You really are not. The brushes that I showed you today and the techniques are going to do 98% of everything you want to do as a beginner. And as you get more advanced, you can start looking at some of the other things. Like for example, you can have the simulation ones here. So you can actually sculpt and it'll automatically simulate cloth as a sculpting stroke. So it's great for making like cloth folds and stuff. But like I said, that's generally more advanced. That's once you've already gotten to that point where you kind of already sculpt a character and then you want to add sort of more advanced details like clothing and stuff. So not something you need to worry about. I think just stick to the general brushes. Remember the dynamic paint, sort of the dynamic topology. That's super important. Remember the symmetry. And that's about it. If you remember those things and these few brushes here, you are going to be doing great. You can check out some other sculpting tutorials on Blender on my YouTube channel, Pixar3D, and I'll see you guys next time.